Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well and welcome back to another F1 2021 video. In this one, we are looking at who is the best rookie teammate to get at the beginning of your My Team. But before we get into this one, I just want to say that the My Team series is close to starting on the channel, so I have put some polls and questions to you guys on the community tab on my channel, so make sure you respond to those. And whilst I have your attention, if you're enjoying this video at any point, then smash that like button, as that really helps out with the algorithm. And I only just found out this part of the analytics the other day, but only 8.7% of you are actually subscribed to the channel. So if you like F1 2021 or just racing games in general, and you like what you see from my videos, then why not subscribe to the channel? And hopefully we can turn that shocking statistic around for the better. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's get into the video. So in My Team, you can choose from one of 19 rookies from the 2020 F2 season to be your teammate. And although you only get to choose from 7 when it comes to actually choosing, you can always back out of the setup process of My Team and start over again to change which rookies are available to choose from. Sometimes it doesn't change, but most of the time it will. So if there's someone specific you want as your teammate, you can do this to make sure you get them. Right, so like we did with the last video about what's the best starting engine, we'll start with the stats that the game gives us, and then we'll do some testing to see who is actually the best. The first stat that we're looking at is experience, which if you didn't know, affects the amount of R&D points your teammate will get for the team. And sorting the drivers by this, we have 3 drivers at the top with 36, and then a lot of drivers at the bottom with 30. To be honest, there isn't much difference between the drivers in this stat, and they are so far behind the rest of the F1 drivers on the grid that it really isn't going to make much difference at how many R&D points they bring in. So you can kind of ignore this one for choosing a rookie teammate, but do keep this in mind when choosing future teammates, as they can help develop the car quicker. Next is racecraft, which is how likely a driver is to make an overtake when the opportunity arises. At the top of this list is Schwartzman with 68, and right at the bottom there is Sato with a very low 37. Awareness is up next, and this stat translates into better car control in challenging circumstances, i.e. in the wet or when the tyres are starting to go off at the end of a stint. At the top of this one is Galale with 72, and at the bottom is Armstrong with 63. Next is pace, which is probably the most important stat, as it affects how fast they are on track and how likely they are to get fastest lap or do well in qualifying. We have 3 drivers at the top with 75, these being Schwartzman, Masushita and Ticktum. And at the bottom we have the awareness king in Galale with 65. There is also a new focus stat in this year's game, which is just for the career modes only, and I haven't found anything official from Codemasters or EA explaining what this actually does, but either way this stat seems to change for each driver every time I start a new My Team. So for continuity in this video, we aren't going to include it. Okay, so finally with these stats, if we add them all together, you can see that Schwartzman is on top with a total of 243, while Nissany is at the bottom with 205. However, if we add the overall ratings next to them, you can see that they don't match up as you might think. Now, the extremities do match up, with Schwartzman's overall of 70 being the highest and Nissany's 58 being the lowest. But there are a few that don't match up. For example, if you look at Delatraz, he has a total of 227 and an overall of 63, whilst Drugovich has a total of 224 but has an overall of 65. And if you look at the rest of the stats, Delatraz has the highest stats for all of them except for pace, which must mean that pace is deemed to be the most valuable stat, as it seems to carry the most weighting when it comes to overall ratings. It's also a very similar story with Galale and Armstrong, who is 3 ratings higher than Galale, despite Galale having the higher total from all the stats added together. Okay, so that's all the stats out the way, let's jump into the testing. So for this to be as fair as possible, we had the same sponsor in Moon, the same engine in Honda, and also answered Will Buxton's questions in a way where we were only getting durability upgrades. So literally the only thing that would affect the car's performance would be the drivers. Right, so for the testing, we are collecting every driver's qualifying lap, their fastest race lap, as well as their qualifying and race finishing positions. And we did all of this for the first 3 races of the season. Oh, and just in case it decided to rain during the race or qualifying, I then had to go back and do all of that driver's testing again. So I have seen the same car reveal far too many times for my liking. So at the Bahrain qualifying, Ilott did the best lap with a 126.666, whilst Galeo did the slowest lap, being a 127.146. Now, if you're wondering why it just says 26.666 instead of 1 minute 26.666, is because it's much easier to work with when we have to add them up and stuff later. But yeah, when it says 26.666, they haven't done like a stupidly fast lap, it's actually 126.666. And I have said 6666666 so many times. Looking at the qualifying positions, Lundgaard was top, qualifying 18th, with Markelov qualifying the lowest at 21st. Onto the race at Bahrain, and Ticktum did the fastest lap with a 129.466, with Galeo doing the slowest at 130.524. For the race finishing positions, we had 3 drivers finish 17th, and Daruvula was the lowest finisher in 21st. Onto the second race at Spain, the best qualifying lap was a 116.552 by Armstrong, and the slowest was Galeo again, who managed only a 117.058. And looking at the qualifying positions, we had 5 drivers qualify 20th, with the rest qualifying 21st. The fastest lap in the race at Barcelona was a 118.865 by Piquet, with the slowest being a 119.399 by Nissany, or Nissany, I'm not sure which one it is. Looking at the race finishing positions, we have 5 drivers in 19th, 7 drivers in 20th, and another 7 drivers in 21st. Onto the third and final qualifying at Monaco, Matsushita put in the best lap with a 109.970, and the slowest lap was yet again by Galeo with a 110.416. If we take a quick look at the qualifying positions, Matsushita was the only driver to qualify 20th, with everyone else coming 21st. At the race at Monaco, the fastest lap was a 112.388 by Ilott, and the slowest was a 113.002 by Nissany. And for the last time, let's look at the race positions. We have 6 drivers in 20th, 7 drivers in 21st, and another 6 drivers coming in 22nd and last. Okay, so that's all the testing done. Now, from this, I was able to add up all the lap times done by each driver and give them a rank. And I was also able to do the same for the qualifying and race finishing positions too. Now, with these 2 rankings, I was able to add them together and give each driver an overall ranking for my testing. Alright, so without further ado, let's go and have a look at the results. In 19th and last position is somehow not Galeo. Instead, it is Markelov, who came last for the qualifying and race positions, and only 18th for the lap times. In 18th, it is Galeo, who was by far and away the worst for lap times. In 17th, we have Delatraz. 16th is Samaya, who is actually tied with Daruvula, who is 15th, but due to Daruvala's lap time pace being that little bit better, he just edges it. Nissany is 14th. 13th is Zhou, which is surprising as he was 2nd when I did this for last year's game, and he's also currently 2nd in the F2 Championship in real life. So yeah, quite surprised by that one. We also have another shock in 12th with Ilott, who is someone that should/could have easily been in F1 this year. So yeah, another big shock there. In 11th we have Sato, 10th is Alesi, 9th is Giotto, 8th is Drogovic, 7th is Armstrong, and 6th is Schwartzman. Again, another one you would think would be right up there and probably should, and for pace he is, being 2nd for lap times, but he ended up only 10th for the qualifying and race positions, which has ultimately ended up dropping him down the order. In 5th we have Aitken, who is basically the opposite of Schwartzman, only 9th for the lap times but 2nd for race positions. 4th is Matsushita, who unfortunately can't defend his title from last year's game as best rookie. Top 3 now, and possibly the biggest shock, is Piquet, who came in 4th for both rankings and has to be the best budget choice if you're low on cash or you want to spend some money on other things instead. Don't let that 63 rating fool you, as he's actually pretty quick and comes in 3rd. In 2nd we have Lungard, who is also a great choice. He also came 3rd for both rankings, and yeah, it's just pretty much overall a very solid driver. And that leaves the top spot to Tictum, who absolutely smashed it. He came on top for both of the rankings and was consistently quick throughout all the testing. So yeah, Tictum is the best rookie driver in the F1 2021 My Team. But before I go, I will quickly show you the rankings for the lap times and positions, as I didn't want to show you them before as it would have ruined the final rankings. But yeah, there they are if you are interested.